Today is July 21st, 2018. Get ready for the Emerging Sea broadcast system, the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Time to call your friends, ladies and gentlemen. We now interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program. And the great lies of history. Please note that the following views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever to be construed as medical nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way, 7 days a week on the realpublicradio.net with the great lies of history, Free America Radio Network. Stand by for the broadcast. And special thanks to youtube.com for having the Forbidden History series. Still time to call your friends. After all, you wanted to know, didn't you? Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History series, The Words That Kill, The Piracy of Words, The Original Gospel, The Transliteration Project, The Great Lies of History, and a whole lot more right here. We are the Deprogramming Program, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Desert Owl, a bird who sees in the night, and I just see too much, and it's beyond what most will ever be able to wrap their mind around, because they've done these the unseen hand. These world rulers have done such a profound job of deceiving the world, ladies and gentlemen. They've been working at this for thousands of years. It didn't just start yesterday or 100 years ago, like they want you to follow the diversion, the Bilderbergs, the greatest diversion, you know. And it's a powerful group of people that we'll never see their faces. We'll never hear from them. If we ever did see them, they'd be dressed in a dress in maybe in the Vatican somewhere like that. Maybe it is the closest we can get is the Black Pope, but it goes beyond that to the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthood. That's what we talk about here. We'll be talking about today. You know, and the one who doesn't want to know the truth is a slave who doesn't want to be free. Okay, and let me just take a note here. Okay, and so and then, you know, the best way to identify the truth is to identify the lies. And so today we're gonna be depending upon how much time we have, of course. You know, I'm not gonna. I've got some of it I may not cover till tomorrow, but the Great Tribulation. I want to talk about the Great Tribulation and the misconceptions of it, and how does that compare with what Yeshua called the Gentile dispensation? Okay, so that's something that most people don't get. That's why they took a lot of the writings away from us. Okay, what we call the lost writings. They took them away because they were telling us certain aspects of the reality, and they wanted to create another reality. Okay, so the best way then to identify that truth is to identify the lies. And also, I'm going to reveal the code in the King James. All right, the code in the King James that there's several actually that identify. Well, there's more than that. When we want to talk about the words, the code words that we talk about here, then it's a whole lot more than that. So the code in the King James coming up. And if you don't know where you're going, ladies and gentlemen, then any road will get you there. But we have to realize that we've been lied to all of our lives. Okay, so that's what we're going to get into. But real quick, I want to tell you about a special catalog that you can get out of Hawaii that I remember when the gentleman was creating the catalog back, oh geez, almost 20 years ago. Tools for Freedom. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but I highly recommend you get Tools for Freedom. And in this particular issue, they have the C60 write-up, an article, one-page article here. C60, currently the best-known life extender on the planet. Okay. Research on C60 shows us that it keeps telomeres from getting shorter. Telomere shortening is due to cell division, 10 to 20%, and oxidative stress, 80 to 90%. By drastically reducing oxidative stress, C60 can play a major role in reducing telomere shortening and thus promoting longevity. And then the article right up here is C60, the champion antioxidant and anti-aging molecule. C60, short for carbon 60, is a breathtaking. Let me get my light on here. Hang on. Get a little more light. Okay, C60, short for carbon 60, is a breathtaking molecule that has recently risen to prominence as the greatest anti-aging force around. The greatest anti-aging force around. In a 2012 study that was supposed to determine the lethal dose of C60, the scientists found that the test group given C60 dissolved in olive oil uh, far out far outlived the control group of rats not given the C60. Actually, they lived twice as long. The experimenters were shocked since they were trying to discover how toxic C60 was and its upper safe limit, but it turned out to be extremely beneficial and not toxic at all. C60 is derived from charcoal, which is carbon, but arranged in a special form, shape, and structure that allows it to stop the body's oxidative stress, the main cause of aging. C60 stops our telomeres from shortening, thus promoting life extension additionally. C60 absorbs acidic toxins by binding them to its external structure, then safely removing them from the body. C60 also alkalizes the body and thus boosts immune system. Some even suggest it could be a defense against impending 5G wireless grid control grid. Discover more about this phenomenal molecule and its longevity bestowing effects. And then they've got a DVD that talks about it. And good morning, Lou. Good to have you, Lou the cat. And so so yeah, I think I'm going to take a shot of my C60 right now. I take it throughout the day. I like homeopathically. I just put it right under the tongue. And hold on. And the best price to get it is on Amazon, and they have a company there that is posted, and it's called Good and Cheap Carbon 60 Olive Oil. Good and Cheap Carbon 60 Olive Oil, and it's only 18.99. Okay. Hey, good morning, Sundog. Good to have you. Carbon 60, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the most affordable fix you could ever get for less than 20 bucks. Okay, and that's a month's supply. I've been taking it for several months now, and also when you do a workout, the the lactic acid that builds up from a workout that makes you ache and feel the pain right after a workout. Well, it pulls that lactic acid right out of your body, and so your recovery from a hard workout is almost immediate. That's what's really great about it as well. So interesting stuff, how they do it, and I'm glad it's so affordable. I have some other stuff I'd like to take if I could if I could afford it, but not at this time. So the catalog, if you want to get the Tools for Freedom catalog with amazing write-ups, full color. I'm talking hundreds of DVDs and books. Okay, that you can get. The catalog is almost 100 pages, and you can get on their mailing list and get the latest edition, like this one I just got yesterday. Okay, and call 1-800-770-8802. That's 800-770-8802. 800-770-8802. Okay, and that's the website is toolsforfreedom.com. That's toolsforfreedom.com. Okay, and the website to bypass Amazon, if you wanted to just go to directly to them, then they're good and cheap C60, and then two O's. That's letter O's, not the number O, not zero, but O. Okay, that's good and cheap C60, and then OO for the not the numeric, but the letters 00.com. Okay, and I guess too many people were using the 60. They had to do something after that. So okay, there you go. There's a longer article, but I'm not going to read it. The full page article, but it is a miracle product, and this time and you know what I'm sure they'll figure out how to get it off the market one day because everything's here temporarily. So yeah, and so yesterday I talked about the great lie that was in our scriptures. Excuse me. Let me get my book because I'm going to give you another one that's going to be real quick, just to show you. And I've done it before, but we always have new listeners coming in. Okay, so the big lie was identified in the book of Exodus and chapter 6 and verse 3, where it says, and I am, well, it starts in verse 2. I am Yahweh, and I appeared to Abraham, and Isaac, and to Yaakov as the great Elohim in the eye of the return. And by my name of Yahweh, I did not make myself known to them. And I showed you that that was not true. It goes all the way back to Adam and Eve and Seth and Enosh, and then Abraham, and Yitzhak, and and Yaakov. They were all connected with Yahweh, and he identified himself with them by name. So I proved that the priesthood did the trick. So I'm going to show you some tricks today they did in the King James, and the next one I'm going to show you is the trick that they played in the Dead Sea Scroll Bible, because what they did with the Dead Sea Scrolls that were directly, the same books that we have in what we call our Old Testament, then they gathered all the fragments and put them in one book. And what I found interesting about the Dead Sea Scroll Bible is that there was no difference in most of the translation, right? I mean, almost verbatim, and that's really an impossibility, especially when you consider how things move through time over thousands of years. And they went almost word for word what we would have in our King James or other translations. But what's interesting is then I find the smoking gun. Okay, I find the smoking gun, and it is in they did a lousy job for referencing in this book too. By the way, this is I'm just Obadiah. I guess this is oh no, it's not. Hang on. Oh, Micah, in the book of Micah, and chapter 5, and a real mind blower, and it just shows their occultic influence. That's the right word. That's the right word. Influence, because they're Talmudists. They're following the Babylonian Talmud. They care not for the truth, because they're just using the religion as a cover for their wicked, dark nature, their darkness, that they follow. It's an occult. And so, excuse me. So here it goes in the book of Micah. Now, muster yourselves in troops, O daughter of troops. She has laid siege against us, and will strike the judge of Israel on the cheek with the rod. But you, here it is, here it's coming. But you, O Bethlehem of Ephrathah, too little to be among the thousands of Judah, and out of you one will not come forth. Okay, just like a curse. Out of you one will not come forth. Oh, well, you're a little late because one did come forth, and his name is Yeshua, right? But here and so in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they throw in the word not, will not come forth, just like they said in what I just showed you in Exodus chapter 6, that Yahweh did not reveal himself. Yes, he did. And see, now they got it here, that out of you, Bethlehem, shall not come forth the Redeemer. Oh, well, it's a little late, 2,000 years late. Sorry, guys, you bunch of liars. Yeah, the whole Dead Sea Scroll thing was a big scam. The Jesuits sat on it for like practically 50 years, and drank alcohol, I guess, most of the time, and just didn't want to translate it because it was telling too much truth until they could figure out how to rape and pillage our intellectual heritage and history. So unbelievable. And there's a perfect example now, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so you've got two back to back, but I'm going to show you some more out of the King James. But before I do that, I just want to, well, no, I'll stay on the same line here. I think that'd be good to keep it all together. I've got some words, I got some symbols I want to do. Okay, and don't forget, if you want to call in, the number is 608-566-7295. That's 608-566-7295. And Skype is Free America Radio. Free America Radio, all one word. I tried to get Skywatcher down in New Zealand to call in today. We'll see if he calls in, because I wanted to, get test my Skype, number one, and then for the broadcast, and also he was just seeing some stuff down there that was rather interesting. So now, if you have a King James version, then get your King James version. It's probably the only one that will work for this, because they were using the King James as a code book. Okay. And oh, and by the way, we talk about the goddess, right? And the goddess is really two words. You can write it down. When you look at these things, when I'm talking and write it down, you'll get the better picture, and then you got the record of it as well, because you're going to see patterns. What I'll be revealing here over each program are the patterns, and you've got to see with new eyes. You've got to see and read it for yourself in the way that it is, and it is code. Okay, what's amazing is, what I'm able to do, what Yeshua is doing with me, is allowing me to back engineer. It's a direct road back. They could have used Chinese or other symbols, but they chose to use the Aramaic, as I proved out when I showed the Chimera back, a couple weeks ago. The Chimera and then backwards is Aramaic. So the Aramaic is the founding instrument for the Aryan, and it's because it was the original alphabet for the Aryan, come through Adam and Eve, Keva and Dictum. So so here we go. Goddess then is actually two words. You can see it. It's missing one letter. One letter. Drop in the letter R right after the D, and you'll see the goddess is the goddress. So when you heard me talking about hey, Nataskas. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. I'm trying to get it. Nata Shakas. You're gonna have to call in and give me the right pronunciation on that. But good to have you, Journey. I'll call you Journey. I'll make it easy. And but look, so you add the R and you get God dress. Put a hyphen in between both of the D's. You get goddess is the God dress. Okay, the God dress. What is that? Well, as you heard me telling on the program, that the Lucifer is only found within the men who wear dresses. That's the priesthood. Okay, the Vatican. The black robe that they wear, like Neo. Yeah, he does that Superman thing. He can fly through the air. Yeah, bullets don't hurt him. Bullets don't hurt him. He's just okay, Journey. Thank you. And so so I said that the Lucifer is found in the men who wear dresses. So that's the Catholic priest, that's the Scottish Rite in their kilts because they got the power to kill, the kilt, and the other one is Islam, of course. Islam is are the other ones. That's why they're having a party. They know they're a part of the priesthood that's here to destroy all of Christianity, and they're wearing dresses too. That's evidence that they know they're in on a conspiracy to injure mankind. They've been doing it since the Vatican created them in 600 AD when they destroyed all the Eastern Church. Everywhere you see Islam today in Africa and through the Istan nations like Pakistan, Afghanistan, all of those lands were once Christian, and then Islam moved in and killed the Christian cultures. So not that there wasn't a mix of other like the Hindu or Brahmanism and all that. Brahmanism was corrupted as well. So the god dress, ladies and gentlemen, that's the woman, and you see her in the front of every courthouse with a blindfold on. Okay, because she's a blind goddess. Okay, she doesn't have eyes to see, and that fits with one more. I might as well bring out here. Yeah, let me bring out these others because it'll help you better to appreciate what I'm going to show you in the King James. And so then then we can talk about the sun and moon, and that the Luciferian cult, they follow the cycles of the moon. They're in the darkness, and therefore their light is Lucifer. That's the moon. And so the contrast is, as I do on the program, talking about the duality and how we have the duality of light and darkness. So the sun represents the all-seeing eye. We see that on the back of the dollar bill at the top of the pyramid, the sun. On the other side of the dollar bill, I should get a dollar out. I think that would be a good thing to do. Let's talk about it right on the picture, okay? Let me see if I got a dollar bill here. Okay, I do. So above the eagle on the right-hand side of the back of the dollar bill, you've got what you can see is the Zionist Star of David, made up in 13, I believe it's 13 stars. Yeah, it is. And then it's surrounded by a very different kind of aura than the all-seeing eye, which you can tell clearly is a sunburst. But on the back of the dollar bill, above the eagle, which is also a phoenix, which is also a vulture in the occultic, the eagle is hiding the vulture. If you ever saw a bird flying high up in the sky and you thought it was an eagle, and all of a sudden it got closer, you realize it was a vulture, because a vulture looks like an eagle when it's high up until it gets closer to you and it's ready to pick at your flesh, right? Hey, good morning, Jedi. Good to have you. So we got on the back of the dollar bill the one. It's in a big word, one, because it is the play of the one. But the thing is, the one that the Freemasons claim is of the darkness and is not the one light. And so they're following the illusion. They are in the illusion and they create the illusions. They create civilizations. They are the creators. They create the music. They create, the television. They create the movies. They create everything, and deceive the world because they're of the darkness and of the illusion of the void. But the light represents truly the all-seeing eye represents the great Father of light and Yeshua. But they take it and put it on their pyramid. This one in particular is found in Rome on the back of the dollar bill. That's a remnant reminding them as a memorial that they came through Mitzrayim, which is not Egypt, but they call it Egypt. But it never was Egypt. It's Mitzrayim, found in the original scriptures. So sun and moon then. So the sun represents the all-seeing eye. That represents the great Father of light, Yahweh, whom people mispronounce as Yahweh, and represents Yeshua, because all power was given unto him, and it was given back to him because he had all power before that, before he came to earth, and then he receives all power again and authority, and therefore rules in the metaphor from the throne of the sun. It's symbolic. He's everywhere. Okay, there's nowhere that the Spirit is not. He is Spirit, and so the sun represents the all-seeing eye of light, and the moon represents the blind goddess of darkness. There's your duality. That's the battle between the light and the darkness. And so the occultic and even Israel was under the 13th lunar cycle, right? And remember when I showed you the AVB? Let me go grab it. I'll just show it to you. Hang on. I'm doing this for the benefit of our new listeners because it'll take them a while to find us going back. But let me just button my shirt here so I don't look too unpresentable. And I'll bring on the board. And what are we going to do here? Okay, video capture. Okay, I think that's it. And then we're going to turn off Antarctica. Oh, and I've got to get my shroud off my... Remember, always to block out your webcams, ladies and gentlemen. People can look through them. Okay? So, and you know who I'm talking about when I see people, right? That's right. That's a different all-seeing eye. Yeah, the SKYPE people. So there you go. See, letter B is 13. Okay, and so the AV, the second original letter, is the V of the alphabet, and it says in the metaphorical story that power was given to the V. Okay, Journey, I'm reading. My eye caught the words original gospel in my naivete. Have you spoken about the gospel versus the original gospel? Well, yeah, it's an ongoing discussion. You know, we're doing that. Yeah, that's good. You tape, you're smart, Journey. You know about that. Okay, so I just want you to see that the lunar cycle, they're still playing with the lunar cycle today because they switched out the letter from the V, and they gave us the B, and it's AVG, but instead they gave us the B. So it's a code, but that's why you hear the word Abraham pronounced Avraham, because they're telling you, they know. Okay, so there you go with that. I just want to share that with you, and all right. So let me put this back here. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the battle is between light and darkness. I mean, I know you all know that, but I wanted to show, give you a little more food for thought. And so we're still talking about symbolism. Then we're going to get into King James. So get your King James. And so Rabboni, is not a word that originally comes from Israel. It is, Babylonian. And we find it first in the Hammurabi. Hammurabi, remember, he received the law. Okay, so this is another occultic thing again, where they call themselves rabbis. The fact that they call themselves rabbis is evidence that they are not true Israel. It would have been seed planter, but rabbi, look, there's three components. Raz, good eye. It means Raz, good eye. Ra, bon eye. And so Ra is reflective on Mitzrayim, Egypt. Okay, and that's why. Didn't you ever wonder why they call themselves Pharisees? Doesn't Pharisee sound like Pharaoh? You see, Pharaoh and Rabboni, Ra's good eye. Okay, you see, it's also subtle. We never question it. But we got to. We've got to question it. We got to tear it apart. We got to look at it, like an automobile, like a doctor, where's this coming from? And that's why knowing the root forms is so important. They corrupted, Ra is not evil by itself in the name Ra, because it comes from Mitzrayim, Egypt. What it means is the light, but it's the occultic light. You see why? Because Ra, R-A, add a Y to it, put the Y after it, and you get ray. All right, and it's the ray of light. They're claiming the light. The occultic are claiming the light, right? That's what I just showed on the dollar bill, the all-seeing eye. They wanted to make it theirs. So it's the same game, going way back to the beginning of the mythology in Mitzrayim, Egypt. They took away the name Mitzrayim, another occultic act, and gave us Egypt, a word that only existed for the last 350 years. And it's such a grand event or conspiracy that they had to do this, that literally all publishing, even like the historian Herodotus, they changed it from Mitzrayim to Egypt. I mean, this is university, every nation, they all are embracing the lie. It is the grand conspiracy, to hide the light from us, to hide the light. So one more, and then we'll be in that nefarious King James, okay? And so the square, is a Masonic instrument, and the mortarboard, right? The mortarboard is what they put the mud on when they're laying bricks. And thank you, Jedi. So when they're laying bricks, the mason holds a mortarboard in his left hand, and he takes his trowel, and he takes the mud off of the the concrete or the mud, whatever he's working with, off of the trowel, and then he puts it on the bricks and lays the next row of bricks. And so that's the mortarboard. Okay, don't. It's a joke, because it's a square, and wherever you see the square is speaking. And it was Confucius who said that signs and symbols rule the world, not law nor words. Signs and symbols. The words are made up of symbols, you see? That's what I've been talking about. But so let's talk about the symbol, the square. Okay? And when you know this, you definitely won't want to be a square, because it's a game. But this is one you're not going to miss. Okay? You're not going to miss. And and by the way, Journey, you've got to go back and listen, starting at the premiere of this latest series. I started 3 weeks ago, did 2 weeks, took about a week off, and then I'm starting, the next round. Okay, but if you follow it, I'm talking about the original words, the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, the original gospel. Okay, this is the grand conspiracy to destroy our spiritual tradition, and so that we'll never, can see the light, because they clouded it with so much of the darkness of falsehood, phony words, false traditions, grand lies and schemes. Okay, so let me take a sip of my drink here. Hang on. So the square, wherever you see the square, it's speaking. And so let's take it right to the Vatican. Did you ever find it interesting that they had this funny collar? The Catholic priests, they have that funny collar where they wear all black, and then all of a sudden they got this little white square right on their throat, right? Right on their throat. Well, that's the square. And because it's on the throat, it means they are speaking for international Freemasonry. They are the voice, because it's on the throat. And mind you hear me talk about India, right? I constantly say it goes beyond the Vatican to the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthood. Okay, and so out of India, what do we get? The Nehru jacket, and and there's the square again, right on the throat. It's not like a Western suit. I wanted to say uniform, and that'd be a good way to put it. Uniform is one form. But the Nehru, has the square also, just like the Catholic. And there's a connection with what I've been saying, but it's in the word. Nehru is Nal rule. Nal rule. And what does it mean? The rule that comes down. Oh, so if the rule is coming down, it's coming down from the east, there into the Vatican, and then Jesuits wrote Mein Kampf for Hitler, right? The Vatican Jesuits wrote Mein Kampf for Hitler. And now did not Hitler have a funny mustache? Did he have a funny, does anybody get in the picture? What was his mustache? Was it not a square on his upper lip? Therefore, if it's on the mouth, it means he's speaking for Freemasonry. Hey, Ninja Cat, good to have you. And so and even in the movie Schindler's List, they bragged about Freemasonry being a part of Nazi Germany. It was very subliminal, but they come out with the words the Freemasons, right in there, and so the square is speaking. The square is speaking, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so then so I think then the ultimate irony is that after they educated you by putting you in their schools, and education means that which they remove from your thinking. No, and they never taught you about law, the true nature of law. They never taught you about money. They never taught you about the things that you really needed to know, and they didn't teach you to control the spelling of words and adding and changing vowels, but instead they removed the knowledge of the true science in all of these things. Even the Fibonacci sequence of, which is found in the number 6. Number 6 represents the Fibonacci creation. They educated you, and therefore you were left slightly unprepared for the reality that we live in, and therefore they can control you. And so when you finally get done being educated with language, which is the langrage, meaning the garbage that they fed you, when you finally going to graduate from the garage with all the garbage that they fed you, then you're going to go up to the podium with a Masonic mortarboard on your head, right? A Masonic mortarboard, a square on your head. And what it literally means is that the mortarboard symbolizes what they have been putting in your mind, because it's on your head. Wherever the square is, that is what is speaking. So the square on your head is the square on your mind, and it means that it now symbolizes that they have perfected the ultimate slave, automaton, brain dead, unless you're fortunate, gray matter. Okay, but it's what they put in your mind. That's what it symbolizes: the garbage, the bull, the papal bull. So, are we having fun yet, ladies and gentlemen? I'm telling you that this is such an amazing thing, to be able to see these things. You didn't have the time to figure it out or have it revealed to you by the great Father of Light and Yeshua, but you're getting it here right now. Okay, you've got to see it. And by the way, if you want a copy of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, or the Book of Wisdom written by Joseph of Arimathea, the great uncle of Yeshua, that was preserved on the bronze sheets in England when they settled there to escape Jerusalem, where they wanted to kill the royal family, or the original gospel, a sample of the original gospel with the latest version of the dictionary in the back. Any size donation. Okay, just tell me what book you want, and I'll be glad to get it to you, or you can call me on the side. But if you go to therealpublicradio.net, well, Lou, congratulations. You didn't graduate. I didn't either. I was smart enough to know these people didn't care about me, and I dropped out. So I'm rather proud to say that these days. But go to therealpublicradio.net. Okay, therealpublicradio.net, and there's a PayPal button there. And if you don't have the funny money, backed by our labor, backed by the birth certificate, then just let me know. I'll be glad to get you any one of those items. Okay, so welcome to our new listeners. You are tuned into the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. Looks like Saturday people are sleeping in. We normally have some other friends that usually come on, but I know it's the weekend, and I thought about sleeping in, but I want to be here for all of you. Great people, and making new friends here, and it's a lot of fun to meet such wonderful people. Now, get your King James out and get ready, okay? I'm going to reveal to you the code, ladies and gentlemen, in our received scriptures, not the original. We don't have any originals, okay? Go to, excuse me, let me cough real quick. I'm going to put it on mute. Hang on. Okay, so go into the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms, Psalm 46. Okay, and I'll wait till you're there. It's only going to work with the King James because that is the code book. I haven't done it like in my lamps or the other, but I don't see any point because the code is in the King James. Okay, KJV. Something interesting about the lettering there I just saw for the first time, because the K is a broken H. It's the broken bridge. H is the bridge. And so if you see the K, that's the bridge that's broken. I'm going to have to do a presentation on that. But the J, the J is a latecomer. That is only 200 or 250 years old, the letter J. And then the V after that for their Virgin Mother, which became the whore. So KJV in itself is very interesting, three initials. But okay, so now you're on Psalm 46. Very good. Now, what I want you to do, you may want to have a pen, or hopefully you got smaller fingers, but I want you to count down on Psalm 46, and I want you to count from the word God. God is number one, and count 46 words, okay? 46 words in your King James Version. I'm going to do it as well. I've already marked it, but I'll do it so I know how long it takes you, right? Okay, you're there. What word did you get? Did you get shake? You got shake, right? Now, at the bottom of Psalm 46, and I said count 46 words down. Now we're going to go to the bottom. You're going to bypass the word Selah, and you're going to count starting with refuge, the last word in the psalm, and that's number one, and then count backwards up 46 words, okay? And I'll join you again. And then you found out that you landed the 46th word was spear, right? Okay, well, put them together and you get Shakespeare, right? Well, well, that could be an interesting coincidence, Desert, right? But wait a minute. The style of the King James writing is Shakespearean. And so this book served several purposes. Now, if you were in England prior to 1611, and more specifically in the 1500s, because that was the turn of the century there, in the 1500s and the 1400s, you could go into another town and ask for bacon and eggs, and they wouldn't even know what you're talking about. That the from the Saxon, Old English to the moving in of the Norman Franks and the French, and then the Old Norse, and then you talk about Welsh, all the different tongues. I wanted to say language, but I'm trying to stay away from the occult words. The tongues in that region, it was so conglomerated. It'd be like going to New York City. This is an example. Going to New York City, and then you go to Little Italy, and everybody's talking Italian. You go to, where the Jews are, and then everybody's speaking Yiddish. Or you go, right? And so literally, New York itself is like a little universe. Well, that was the case in England. That there was no standardization. There was no standardization of the diction, and therefore they needed to standardize what we call English today in order to affect their new world platform, which is Great Britain, for the small cycle until America became the next version. So spear shaker is backwards. If you reverse Shakespeare, which we have as I'm claiming is the King James Version, is the Shakespearean form of English. And how did it standardize English? Well, they put it on every podium in every community. So it was natural that the book would then become the standardization of the English of that day. You see, it wasn't hard to do. They had to use religion. They used the good book, and they had it in every town. That was the state of the art for the day. Okay, well, let's now reverse Shakespeare, and we get spear shake. But just put an R on shake, and you get spear shaker. Now there is a, in the movie that with Keanu Reeves, what was it called, Constantine? Right in the very beginning, if you remember, they take us into Mexico, and there was two guys underneath this platformed foundation of a church. You saw a cross. It was a concrete structure, and one of the guys, right in the beginning of the movie Constantine, was digging in the dirt. Well, he fell in. His foot went into the ground, broke through a board, and he reached down in there and he pulled out a sword. It was wrapped in a Nazi flag. You got to look at it real close and stop the movie to really see it, and I did. It's the spear, this tip of a long knife, but it's a spear, was wrapped in a Nazi flag. That takes us back to Hinduism again, right? And to India, also Nazi Germany. And it's the mythological, spear that was supposed to have been, used into Yeshua's side. But, that those things, that's all fabricated. None of that's real, and they never saved his cup that they drank at the Last Supper with either. All nonsense. The idolatry is part of the occult. Idolatry, relics, that's a part of the occult. So who is the spear shaker? Well, that's Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon, who could have been the King of England, but instead was made one of the prime designers of the New Atlantis. The next 500 500-year cycle of the New Atlantis, the discovery of America, the phony discovery of America, and he engineered the layout of how our fabricated Masonic world would evolve, the occult, the Illuminati world would develop. Okay, so Francis Bacon is the spear shaker. He went under the pen name of Shakespeare. All right, the character Shakespeare was an illiterate, and therefore he was just used. His name was used in order to allow them also not just to use the King James Bible, Bible meaning covering, bib el, the bib of the illuminated, the Bible, but also he wrote the Shakespearean plays, and because no illiterate actor could do that, and then to corroborate what I talk about is about here is that I knew Glenn Keely up in Canada, and he decodes the Shakespearean plays. He reads the code, just like I read the code. He reads the code as well. I've interviewed him a couple times, and I was a friend of his associate, Bev Collins, when we had we're doing broadcasting and bringing on Australia and Canada on the international shortwave. He founded Canadian Institute for Political Integrity. So he was also touched because what happened to Glenn, he went to the French Canadian schools in Montreal, Quebec, and then at one point he leaves the French speaking schools and goes into the English and found out they had a whole nother version of history right there in the same town, Montreal, Quebec, and the whole history he learned in the French school was totally different than the English he learned in the English school. So isn't that amazing that right, in the same backyard, they're teaching two versions, two different classes of people. I guess that's why they teach people to hate each other, because they would want to argue all day long about stuff, right? People just love to argue about stuff rather than read it for themselves and prove it out, because I know my teacher wouldn't lie to me. My pastor wouldn't lie to me. My politician wouldn't kiss my baby, then kiss me off. No, they wouldn't do that, would they? So anyway, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the spear shaker, and so that was a big part of the movie Constantine, heavily built around symbolism. Look at that shotgun, a sawed-off shotgun with a cross on it. You know, Constantine. Oh, remember that goes back to when the Roman Empire split itself apart into the duality and said that they were going to make the Rome the religious state, while Constantine was the political state. All right, the switch out, because they knew that they had to control the world by religion and not by politics. Politics is below religion. Religion runs the world. So if we go into Psalm 119, then you see the very center of the book, the very center of our scriptures, and I'm talking about central by chapters. In other words, there's an equal amount of chapters on the south side or on the left side of the book. Then there's an equal amount of chapters on the right side of the book, and so it's purely occultic. You know, I had a PowerPoint presentation on this, but it's on my other computer, so I couldn't do the total accounting for what I'm talking about here. But so basically, but 119, look at it. 119 being the center of the book, the central chapter. Do you see what I see in when you reverse 119, ladies and gentlemen? Do you get the picture? That is their prime occult code that they also like to make like this. I'm going to type it in the bar. Okay, here we go. There you go. You see, that represents 9/11. 9/11. And it's the Masonic code, okay, the Builder's Code. And 119 backwards is 9/11. Good morning, Love Matters. Good to have you. Not a problem. You can play the replay, okay? But anyway, friends, let me turn on my air conditioner. I'm going to pick this up. Stand by. Yeah, I'm spilling the beans today. Love Matters. And it's fun to do. You know, after being lied to for so long, it's just fun to spill the beans. I gotta tell you. Okay, way to go. So there's your 9/11, right in the center of our scriptures, the very occultic word, numerical symbolism that they use to mass murder. Okay, the Roman numeral I did is is the classic expression of that, because even the Roman numerals creates a profound code, and they just love it. You know, they love their little tricks they play with symbolism. You know, and so it's so being at the center, this is proving out that it is the occult. Okay, and in order to accomplish this, they had to also change the number of books by taking some books out and by splitting other books like the Book of Kings and a book of the prophet Samuel, and they split them. And then what do we end up with? A fabricated, phony 66 books, right? 66. Well, you know, we know how we all look at the 3 6s as being very ominous. But remember, 6 is the number of creation. It's the symbol of the Fibonacci sequence, okay? That is the Fibonacci sequence right there. And number 9 is destruction. 6 is creation, 9 is destruction, okay? But so what does 66 mean? Well, you may remember, if 6 is the number of man, he's on the lowest scale. And you remember I did this presentation. I said 666 represents a star, represents the sun, because that's the biggest. And so if 6 is the number of man and 666 is the number of a star, Then what is 666 or 66? Let me take this call first. And hey, good morning, Jedi. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say that I was told, and I wanted your opinion on this. In the beginning of Psalm 19, every thing in the beginning, it says Alpha, Beth, Gamal. You know, with every, they say that that's the Hebrew alphabet.
Yeah, Jedi, thank you so much. I guess that's why you go by Jedi, and I discovered that in your name, Jody, and pointed that out to you years ago. And she's being the Jedi now because you're right. And and I saw that this morning when I was looking at it, and I totally forgot it. So thank you, because what it is, you
and
see.
then it goes to all.
Well,
you can pronounce it better than I. And he, if you see it's on the top of every. It's not even a chapter because it had Psalm 119 has the most verses in the Bible or Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And I just wanted your impression on that because I had told my life that is what the original Hebrew was, but it doesn't make sense when you write out those words because it has vowels and things. I wonder if you could expand on that for me.
I will do that. Do you want to stay on the phone or do you want to jump? You want to stay?
Either or.
Yeah. Okay. You can stay on for a minute. All right. So let me. As soon as I saw that, I knew what it meant, but I failed to mention it. So and thank you for noting also it's the longest psalm because I saw that as well and I forgot that Jedi. So the longest psalm is 119. It's the center of the book, and then they break it down into the Hebrew alphabet, which is really Yiddish. Okay, Hebrew is gone. Hebrew disappeared a long time ago, especially at 70 A.D., and it became Yiddish. Okay, Yiddish, more correctly Yud-ish, because there's the Yud that we find in Yudah, and it means the dot. It means that which is smallest. But so the fact that they broke the Psalm 119 into 22 segments representing each of the excuse me, the Yiddish characters, it's a code. And they're showing that their code, the Zionists, for world domination, the Khazars, are at the center of all of this. They're not the only ones being used, but they are at the center. Is not the Mossad at the center? And like this is 9/11 backwards, and it was the Mossad who followed this Yiddish, who were at the top of the instrument to take down the Twin Towers. Okay? So it's purely occultic. And the fact that it's the longest poem means that they're trying to also claim the longest legacy, which is another lie. They just embraced a foreign tradition that was not theirs. They are not Israel. Israel ceased to exist in 730 A.D. BC, when they were banished into Babylon at that point and into Syria and Nineveh and other parts of the world. So there you go. It's the purely occultic representation here, so they're speaking, they're shouting, and it was the banking was working with the regal, the royalty in Europe, and so you had the Vatican priests in all of the different nations. That's a good foreign spy agency. That's your first CIA. The Vatican priest in every community in every nation, when all the nations are supposed to be foreigners and enemies of each other sometimes, right? But the Catholic priest is in each one of them. Talk about a perfect spy agency. And then you got the Jewish banking, who's handling all the funny money, and they're the protectors and defenders of the Vatican Trust, as we find in the Catholic Encyclopedia. So what a web they wove, ladies and gentlemen. This is their stuff, their work. It doesn't mean we can't read these scriptures and derive our light of truth from them, but it means that they're the controllers, they're the handlers, and they played a trick. And in order to unravel it, you've got to know the truth. In order to know the truth, you've got to know the lies. Got to know the lies, right? So, Jedi, any follow up on that?
No, I was just, if I was kind of trying to direct your audience to each and every one of those when you see the letter swap outs and vowel, the letters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're pretty strange. When you get to 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one, it's HD on the top of it.
Right.
And
well, the one.
It's
go ahead.
W and then ZAYIN. But yet no one has been able to tell me what those beginning of each one of those actually are. Does your audience see it, or am I the only one?
Well, if they have the King James, they see it. But like the one you referred to, Zion, on verse 4 at the top of verse 49 is Zion. In other words, this is the code. They are not going to spell the words the way they should be spelled because they're hiding the light from us. They're occultic. So that's why the spelling looks unusual. And but the one that I just got my attention, all right, because you know how I'm showing that the V is the original and the B was the corruption, right? Well,
sure.
Well, look at the verse 9 where we got the word Beth, right? Beth, like Elizabeth, but it would be pronounced Bet, very often Bet. But remember, it's a V. So I saw it for the first time, Jedi, because you're helping out, you're creating a little synergy here. And so because I saw the symbol, look at the symbol. Okay, so the correct, since it's got to be a V, I now know it's Vat, V-A-T, which is the prime root of the serpent. The V is creation that came down, the virgin creation that came down, matter. From the light, we get physical matter. And the A-T is the alphabet. The A, alpha, tau, the T is the tau. And therefore, the V-A-T, because the AT represents creation. Creation represents the serpent, and so look at that Yiddish symbol. Can you see it's a makeup of a serpent as like a cobra standing on its body?
Mm-hmm.
You see? So that's the symbol. That's why symbols rule the world. Okay. Good morning, Martha. Good to have you. So symbols rule the world. And Jedi, you just helped me out this morning. I want to thank you so much. That was great. You're a good Jedi, okay?
Oh, thank you so much. I really always was puzzled by this psalm because they put these things like every so many verses, and it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you read it, you're like, so what does that mean? It's right on the top. And then it continues,
yeah,
and it's like,
yeah, those are the Masorites. Those are the ones
right?
Who moved from the progression of time, ended up in Switzerland. The Masorites, who are Jewish banking, and so they're putting their hallmark in there, saying they're controlling the book right at the very center. Who's at the center? The Masorites that gave us the phony Masoretic translation, the word Masorite that they didn't want us to know about, and replaced it with the word Egypt. And Egypt is a code for return. The number 8, it means return. 8 gypped. 8, and we were gypped, right? They took everything back from us, right? We were gypped. So
yes.
So there you go.
It's very fascinating that you broke that down for me, and swapping out the Beth. It says, well, the B is a B. The A, you go through your vowels, and it's not an E like it's written, it's an A. And then the TH, the T, and then they put the H on the end too to throw you off.
Yeah. So we've got to decode these things. We got to talk about the code because that's where it's happening. That's where we see the light. Okay, the light comes through because it's okay that they did a good number on our scriptures because we can still read the scriptures, we can still be inspired, and we can still get the thread of what the scriptures are about. And then Yeshua takes over our life and our ability to see. He opens our eyes. That's why he healed more blind people than anything else, because he was trying to show us that we were blind and we can't see. And we've got to, what behold means, we've got to see and read it for ourselves. So I am just showing people how to read. Then ultimately they can read it for themselves. I I have and you and other friends, that I've shared this code with, and they're actually telling me things. They come back and say, "Hey, look, I saw this," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, how did I miss that one?" In the same word I was talking about, they're coming back with another revelation, and it's there. You see, so remember that the big serpent, the white serpent, is Yeshua. He's the light, and he's in all things. It's the great mystery. And so no matter how they tried to hide the light still comes true. It's beautiful. Yeah, and he takes away our, and Lou, the cat just said he takes away our sins. What really Lou just said was he takes away our darkness, so that we can have the eyes open and see clearly, see the light. Sin means darkness. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And it's wonderful that we're, all of us pretty much have a King James version in front of us. So we all have that same book that you can refer to, and we can look at it and see it for ourselves as you break it down for us. And I, thank you so much for it.
Thank you, Jedi, for calling in. I'm turning off my air conditioner now.
Okay. Oh. I'll let you go and let you speak.
All right, we'll see you back on the chat. Thank you very much.
The burning swords.
Those burning swords of fire, they're burning. That's right. And therefore we can read them. Read it for ourselves. All right, that was great, Jedi. Thank you. And so let me get back to the 666, okay? Because 6 is the number of man, and 6 is the 666 is the number of the star, the sun, and a star, but in particular the sun. And so 66 is the number of the earth, okay? And so 66 being the number of the earth, well, if they fabricated this book into 66 books, that means the scriptures are of the earth. Get the picture? Not of the air, but of the earth. What they're implying, it's like a curse. It's like they put a curse on the book and said it's not going to be of spirituality. It's going to keep people back down on the earth, in the dirt. They want to keep us down, and therefore they have to put their occultic number there, 66. Okay, so that's what happened. And to show you, and I'll prove to you that 66 is the number of the earth. Okay, there's a petrochemical company called Phillips 66. And the reason it's called 66 is because the oil, is coming out of the earth. So 66 is of the earth. And then they created a highway. These occultists created a highway across America. The first major highway across America was Route. Does anybody know it? Route what? Come on, somebody knows it. All right, I'm going to give it to you because I know we got a delay here. Route 66. Okay, Route 66. That's the earth. Okay, so the fact that they gave this book, Good Morning, Skies Above. Well, I assume you're subscribed. I don't know if people aren't getting the notices or not, but so ladies and gentlemen, 66. Okay, the number of the earth. Therefore the book, our good book, having 66 books in it, then it is. Yeah, Lynn. Good morning. Yeah, so 66, and so they're having a party. They're showing us what we're doing here is proving that our scriptures are under the control of the occult. That's what my presentation has been since I started. The duality revealed in patterns and pictures. How that which is false has been taken over by that which is true. Israel was banished from their own land in 730 BC, were annihilated, kicked out by Yahweh himself. Kicked out by Yahweh. Get out of here. I'm done with you. It's over. You're through. And so the people calling themselves Israel today are not Israel. Oh yeah, that's right, Skies Above. The scriptures left out. A library. We had a library. We should have several volumes. And good morning, Lydia, over there in Ireland. Okay, got to try to keep track of where everybody's coming from. Good morning. And we're spilling the beans here today, Lydia. Glad you tuned in. You'll have to go back in here to replay, and Skies Above as well. But so the scriptures tell us actually that it was a given that our pure tradition would be hijacked by the occult. That's their job. That's what they do. Okay? It's okay. One example would be Saul and David. Here's another one. Okay, Saul, he was bigger than everybody else. He had long hair and, was handsome, and, all the women would have wanted him. And so, but what happened? He was caught up in his flesh. He was caught up in his ego. He was of the earth, just like we're talking about the book being number 66 books in it. Well, Saul was also of the earth. He didn't have the vision. Yeah, okay. And he didn't have the vision that David did. He had the anointing. But what happened? Saul got caught up in the earth and could not transcend. And so David then is the antithesis to what Saul was. So we got a duality. Saul, who is anointed, get this, Saul, who is anointed, is actually going after David to kill him. David, who slew the Goliath. And Saul's going to kill him, the hero of Israel, right? So there's your duality. You got to interpret that. Therefore, Saul also represents the Goliath, and he couldn't kill the Goliath, which is the self. In other words, when David kills the Goliath, he's killing the self, the ego, the flesh, the serpent, because the flesh is the serpent, the ego is the serpent. And the priesthood lied to us about that and never wanted us to get the picture that it was Adam, that was the Naga that enticed his counterpart who was naive. She was ignorant and said, come on, baby, if we do this thing, we won't die. We'll have a party and it'll feel good. And we'll have offspring that will be like the stars of heaven, not live forever. That's how the priesthood changed it, but create a seed that will perpetuate itself like the stars of heaven. And that program was already done. So you've got to go listen to the back issues, ladies and gentlemen. So, and I did a presentation on the Aryans and the Ancient Watchers just about 2 weeks ago. And there was a duality there. You see, because just like Israel fell and was banished and dissolved, the Aryans also fell. The Aryans came to bring truth to mankind for Yahweh. That's why they were called the sky gods, the sun gods of the air, blonde hair, blue-eyed, white skin. But they became arrogant. There you hear. That's where we get the word arrogant from Aryan. And they decided they'd rather conquer the world than to love the world. And that's the great legacy that they left us. That's what this Aryanism is all about. And so the true purpose, of the Aryans was to deliver the message of Yahweh to mankind. But instead they enslaved mankind. That's what they did. And that's what they're doing, and this is what we're revealing. And also, again, the duality, with Abraham was going to sacrifice his son, it was a picture. It created a picture. We have to interpret the symbolism. So there you go on the presentation on the occultic nature of the King James. And let's just sum it up again. If King James was doing an honorable thing and not playing tricks on the people, the slaves, the chattel property, then he would have been blessed. To use the pagan term, blessed. You got the two serpents at the end there. The S serpent, because the original tongue would not have had the serpent sound. That's why the S always has an H. But nonetheless, King James was in the opening of the books calls himself the supreme sovereign. He doesn't call Yahweh the supreme sovereign, calls himself the supreme sovereign, and published right in the book. And then also what happened to him shortly after he gives us the 1611. Oh geez, I'm seeing it again. 16. I just saw the code for the first time. Write down 1611. There you got, turn the 6 over and you got 1911. The 6 is a 9. I just showed that to you earlier. You know that. A 6 is the number of creation. 9 is the number of destruction. And so 1611 is a code for 1911. All right? The destruction. Whoa. And our latecomers here this morning missed a whole bunch. So I know I got you in the middle, but you'll just go back. So what happened to King James? He was deposed. He was held in derision by most of the the English people. I don't know what that was about. I don't remember. I think I saw the documentary on it. But then he's got his son Charles. Charles goes to the throne. Well, our scriptures tell us if you do a good thing for Yahweh, then Yahweh will do something good for you down to the third and fourth generation. Take care of your family, love you. But is that what happened to King James? Let's look. Charles takes the throne. Next thing we know, there's a revolt, and they take Charles to the chopping block, and they cut off his head. And in the scriptures, that means to have your lamp put out. To have your lamp put out is to have your seed line cut off. So King James, Freemasonic the First, who wrote the Book of Beasts in Scotland when he was King James V of Scotland, he had his seed line cut off. He was punished because he's an occultist. Okay? And they did the brainwashing was so good that they got everybody to say, King James, no, it's the only book. I love 1611 English. I want to stay back in 1611. How come they can't move forward with better translations? And they did. George Lamsa, 1933. Farrar Fenton, 1905. Okay? Go get them. Because those books don't even have the word Lucifer in it. Don't even have the word Lucifer because Lucifer was also put in the King James. Also put in the King James. An interpolation because that's their woman, that's their goddess. And so they got the goddess in here, slipped her in. Nobody noticed it. And so guess what? I've got Webster's dictionary from 1828, the first American dictionary. Noah Webster, outstanding work. Okay. In there, you'll find out sports means diversion. Okay, sports means diversion. That's what they did to us, right? So after that, Noah Webster said, "Hey, I'm gonna clean up the King James because it's bad literature." Okay, he didn't want to change the doctrine. He just rewrote the Bible, the King James to clean it up, proper diction, proper phonetic, whatever. And so literally, he was condemned for doing it. And so they stuck with the King James. Because why? Because the King James is the code book, so they had to attack Noah Webster. You think that everybody would have been happy? No. Let's put Noah Webster on the cross now because he just took away our code book from us. Okay, what is Lucifer's actual name? Well, Luciferianism, Lou, is under the cover of Satanism. So Satanism is a cover for Luciferianism, but Luciferianism is just an idea. If you want to get the full presentation, go to my top programs, number 1 through 10, where I was interviewed by Dr. Lorraine Hurley, who they murdered 6 months after that interview because of exposing vaccinations, the poisons of vaccinations, and the drug companies. She was a medical doctor who came out. Great lady. So if you listen to programs number 7, 8, and 9, okay, I defined the Luciferian occult. So just go there, okay, right there, 7, 8, and 9, and you'll get an earful. I'm the only one, as far as I know, who properly defines the Luciferian occult and their true nature. All right, you got to do your homework here, ladies and gentlemen. I can't always when I'm on one different vein to give you another presentation because, as you can tell, my voice just isn't up to it anymore. But I think I covered what I needed to on the KJV, and so you got the forbidden history right here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and I'm actually holding a Masonic Bible. Okay, a friend of mine out of New York, Long Island, one of my longtime listeners, found a Masonic Bible and got me a copy, and so they got their introduction and then their stuff in the back where they're embracing the Egyptian culture, in their dictionary and everything. Amazing, so that was rather interesting to get. But anyway, so where are we at here? I wish I could play a song, but I can't do that. Like I don't even know how to use this new computer. I've got a drawer on the side, but I was gonna try to put a CD in there, and I don't know if that what this is all about. So I need to get a techie real bad, okay? And by the way, don't forget if you want to support your health, okay, just go to um, Live Free 2. That's Live LIVEFREE, Live Free, and then a number 2 .basicreset.com. Okay, basicreset.com. Live Free 2, number 2 .basicreset.com. And while you're supporting your health, you'll be supporting this radio ministry. This is one of our friends and supporters, Ira, and you can sign up for free. Get your own online account. Get paid weekly through PayPal. No obligation to buy product every month. You buy what you want when you want it, and it's got very very lucrative upfront commissions. So this is how we're trying to fund our publishing, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let me move forward here. I'll take a sip of my coffee, and I just want to talk about real quick the ABCs of light. Okay, because the scripture says where there is no vision, the people perish. And people will perish for a lack of knowledge. Okay, perish. Okay. Um, what else does it say? It says that many seek to enter in, but few are going to be saved. Many are seeking to enter in. Many are seeking to enter in, but few are going to be saved. That's worth meditating on. Okay, because we got people thinking that they're free when they're still slaves. How can you be a slave in your mind and still be free? We've got to be set free by knowing the truth. And the best way to know the truth is to find all the lies. That's the way to do it here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so in the symbolism, the letter I is a corruption, just like it sounds like your eye. That's a Luciferian symbol. The dot and the stick, the letter I sounds like what you look with. That's another curse. Okay, because the original was the A. That's the first letter of the alphabet. And it symbolizes your eye. It's like a carrot, right? The capital A is like a projection. It starts at a point and goes out to infinity. That's the vision. So literally the capital letter A is a symbol of vision and of the eye. It's the first letter of the alphabet, the first thing you look at, and it's pronounced A, but it's spelled A-Y. The original word for I, E-Y-E, is A-Y. A-Y. Way to go, Ninja. Absolutely. And I'm learning as I go here. I'm seeing things for the first time while I'm sharing with all of you. It's the synergy, just like Jedi helped out. We're all, able to inspire. I'm inspired by such beautiful people from around the world. We've got I don't know 4 or 5 countries locked in right now, and so it's just a wonderful thing. We got Ninja Cats down in Australia. I got I got to scroll back up in order to. Oh, Lydia, she's up in Ireland. We got Martha over in Ontario, north of Ontario, above the tundra line up there, and Canada, and then we got friends here, and of course in the U.S. and England, UK. We got somebody here in the UK. Diane's usually here, but anyway, it's really exciting to realize we all can come together in a moment and be friends with each other. And yeah, love matters. That's true. It's really cool because we know we all know the game, don't we? We know that we got a bunch of wicked people playing havoc on our planet. They're literally out to kill us, and so what can we do? The only thing we can't stop them. It ain't gonna happen. Okay, I was a political activist for 30 years past. I started 30 years ago 2 organizations. First one was Council for the National Interest, the antithesis of the Council on Foreign Relations. Then I had United Truckers defending the Constitution. I was rallying the biggest lobby in America, the 7 million truck drivers. Okay, then I was infiltrated by MI6 and other local flunkies, double agents, and they take me down. I lose my house on a lake. Okay, that we can't stop them. The only thing we can do is to to tell our friends, those who deserve to know, and let them know how we're being manipulated and lied to, and that the only thing we can do is go inward and know the truth, and that we're not of this world. That's the good news. This is not our home. It's the illusion. It's just a platform, a transit, a train station waiting for us to get on the ride to go back home. That's right. We got to put all of our heart and mind into learning. You know, like any mainstream Christian who would jump in on this program, hear me talking about the King James the way I talked about it today, would think, I'm Lucifer's son, and I'm going to burn for eternity because I exposed the corruption. I give you substance and fact that is undeniable. The evidence, it's all here. And that's right. And sit with love and pray for those. The scripture says, pray for those in authority, that something can happen to them, that they could wake up. Maybe they'll fall down a flight of stairs and bump their head and suddenly say, hey, I don't think I want to be a psychopath anymore. It could happen. But they've taken blood oaths. They'll be killed by their buddies if they don't play the game. They'll be killed anyway because there's no honor among thieves. They sacrifice their own day and night. It's the name of their game. There's no loyalty, among thieves. It's just have a party and everybody out for themselves. That's the serpent, the classic serpent. We've got to kill the serpent, which is the self and the ego, and embrace the light. Okay, so back to the story here. So I told you about the I, which is AY. You need to see with your A. You got to be looking with your A. That's the alpha. And alba. Correctly, it's alba. The F is a corruption, so it's alba. And it means white because it's a star, represents a star. And that's the white robe that Yeshua talked about that we were supposed to put on. The white robe is literally the robe of a star. That's why repent means to rebreathe with the breath of a star. The pentagram is right there, repent. But it's also breath for pant. Okay, pant, like pantomime. It's the breath. So to rebreathe with the breath of a star is to repent. And salvation is soul novation. Soul for the sun, which is the light that's supposed to go off in your head. That's where your soul is, not on the bottom of your feet, that they played a trick on you and got you walking on your soul. Your soul is in your mind, your head. It is a star waiting to be ignited when the breath breathes into you, into your temple. And so soul novation, nova is right there. You can hear the word nova for new starvation. Soul novation means you're to become a new star. That means you're to be enlightened. But we don't see the enlightenment. We don't see it. We see head bobbers bobbing their head on Sunday, saying amen to that. What did he say? I don't know, but it sounded pretty good to me. The head bobbers, we've got to be enlightened, see and read it for ourselves, to be connected with the one, denying our lives in this world. It's called the great mystery, ladies and gentlemen. But yet, remember, it says that many seek to enter in, but few are saved. That's what you've got to meditate on, that because it means we all have to go further than we've ever gone before yet. I've got to go further. All right. I'm not there yet. I'm not where I want to be in that spirit. It's an amazing journey that we have to conquer. Why? Because we weren't brought up in a pure society, like the royal family, right? I mean, that royal family, whoa. Okay. I got a note here. Desert, you just made me think of the KKK. They wear star robes. Wow. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That's Ninja Cat figures. The ninja would come up with that. And it's true. They're claiming to be stars. That's why, and I'll give you the evidence. When Sam Walton, who gave us the Walmart, died, they took the hyphen out of Walmart and they put a star right in between Wal and Mart, implying that Sam Walton became a star in heaven. That's the occultic. They're claiming to be the light. The actors in Hollywood, right? We got the Walk of Fame, the stars. Okay? They're claiming to be stars. They're phony illuminated. Phony illuminated. We are the illuminated if we are pure in Christ. And it's the purity.
That is the secret, ladies and gentlemen. Separating from the darkness means to have your eyes open and to be able to see and read it for yourself, to know that you know that you know. Okay? And so way to go. Okay? And so the last on the ABCs, I just want to help you. I'm trying to give you pictures because these create the patterns. Okay? AT. In fact, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you graphically. Stand by. Let me get the book. All right. Well, you all got me on a roll today. I love this group participation. That really makes it exciting. You know, I get tired of hearing myself talk every now and then. So let me go to my OBS and let me turn on the video cam, turn off Antarctica, pull the cover away from my camera so the Illuminazis can't look at me during the day. And here we go. Okay, this book is from the Hebrew, and it's called Sefer. Okay, Sefer is cipher. It means code. Now, this code right up here, okay, this code right here, he cannot interpret. He's got it throughout the book. He said that they took this 2-letter code out of our scriptures, and so he put it back in. He didn't interpret it. He didn't transliterate it because he couldn't. He doesn't know what it means. That's the Aleph, the letter A, and that's the Tau. That's the end. Aleph and Tau. Okay? The first and the last. All right? Well, he doesn't know what it means. He puts it on the cover and he puts it in the book throughout. And I proved it. I proved it in the book of Revelations, okay? I proved it. And so, okay, I just wanted to show you that. Now let me go back. I don't want to be a distraction here, so I'm going to go back to the graphic. I like that. It looks like a maze, doesn't it? It looks like you know, how do we get to that other side over there? How do we cross that little gully? We'll be stuck in the ditch. I love that graphic because it illustrates how we're lost in a maze. Okay? Thank you, Love Matters. You're beautiful too. Love you. Thank you. You bring a lot of good light to our broadcast all the time. So I'm going to tell you what the AT stands for that he doesn't even know when he is an expert in Hebrew and he doesn't get the code. Cipher or Sefer means code. They call their book Sefer. That's the Jews, okay, calling their book a cipher, a code that we're not supposed to interpret. And I gave it to you out of the King James, right? Because they controlled the Masoretic text, which was from the Yiddish/Hebrew, the Yiddish. Okay, so the AT, write it down. All right, put it on your list, on your school book for following the program. And AT equals, being the first letter, last letter, creation. It represents creation. I just said it. I spilled the beans on myself. It's creation. AT. No, okay. So you've heard the terminology. I don't know how they do it in the other nations, but here in America we got the legal guild. Okay, and they call themselves at law, an attorney at law. Well, what does that at law mean, right? It's like, see, they're doing it right there. They're not translating it into the word. They're using the symbols of the alphabet, the alpha and the tau, the alpha and omega, the alpha and the Z, the first and the last. Well, the at represents creation. And so it's really supposed to be not at law, an attorney that creates law. Isn't that what they do? They had to get us out of the common law because the common law is free. There is no legislation. The foundation of common law is to hurt nobody, keep your word, don't break a contract, and don't steal anything from anybody. No physical harm, no theft. And then you can do anything you want, anything. But they had to get us under codes, rules, and regulations, statutory law. And therefore they're called at law. And at law means, being a code, it's the creation of law. The creation of law. Thank you, Journey. Thank you so much. What state are you in? Good to have you. First time listening in today, I guess. But the creation of law, do you get it? What did they call themselves in Washington? They call themselves lawmakers. Lawmakers, how can you make law when all the natural law has existed from the beginning, made by the great spirit of light, Yahweh, right? Now that's it. I'm telling you the code. What even this great Hebrew expert that did a Bible, it cost $100 to get that book. He's included the book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, the missing chapter of Acts, all put in there. All put in there. You're kidding. I'm in Ohio too, Journey. Maybe we should talk after the program. Maybe you're close to where I'm at here. I'm in Central Ohio, but good to have you. Okay, I got a neighbor, so close neighbor. So there you go. I mean, just friends. It's so cool to be able to unravel the great mystery, because that's what Yeshua said. He said, "There's nothing unknown that cannot be known. There's nothing in secret that cannot be revealed. Nothing." Because that's the way it was designed. It was all set up by Yahweh through Yeshua. And therefore, when these occultists think that they're playing their tricks on us and having a party, Yeshua is the all-seeing eye. He sees what they do, therefore he knows the trick. And then he shows you. He puts you at the right place at the right time to get the picture, and then you don't forget it, just like when you know where you were when Kennedy was shot, if you're old as me, and same with my visions. When I saw something, well, you're real close. I'm on the west side of New Philadelphia. Okay, actually in Millersburg. I'm actually in Millersburg. Okay, so anyway, anytime you're in the area, we can do lunch, Journey. Okay, so let me see, where am I at? I've got so much ground to cover. I got to cover a couple words real quick, and then I'm going to talk about a book, the book of Philo, that nobody reads, and we've got to if you're in the area too, Ninja, we'll do dinner. Okay, I think you're a little further away though. I think you were saying amen to something else, right? So here we go. The piracy of words, the words that kill. In the beginning is the word, and it is the DNA of life. That's what I started calling the words at one point. I said these are the DNA of life, and words are God. Let me talk about that. Let me turn on the air again. Hang on. And don't forget, if you have a friend that loves truth, ladies and gentlemen, all right, we're spilling the beans here. You know that. They've got to go back and listen to the back issues. But, we've got limited time. We've got limited time. I mean, it looks, with the stuff we're seeing in the sky, it looks like we got weeks left. If we're lucky, we got several months left. If we're phenomenally lucky, we got till next year. Okay, I don't know what's happening up in that sky. I just see it's there. And these are all the ominous signs telling us we don't have long. And so if you have friends, that, you care about, and that would want to transcend the grand illusion, the great lie. Okay, yeah, there you go. Jump on a plane, Ninja, anytime. Glad to have you. So we've got to, tell our friends that would care, the good people who want to know this stuff. It may be difficult for them to wrap their mind around it, but tell them to start listening to the premiere edition that I did 3 weeks ago and follow it forward, because you remember, those of you who've been with me, I've laid all the foundations. I did primers to help, the friends come along. Okay. So in the beginning, so the words are God, right? Isn't that what it said in 1 John? In the beginning is the word, and the word is, not was. Remember, they want us to think it was past tense. No, in the beginning is the word. That's the Shavor. In the beginning, and the word is God, which would be, great Elohim. So the words are then God, the great Elohim, and the sun. The sun is the symbol of the word. Okay, it's the light. And so if the word is, words are God in their terminology, in the King James, the words are God. Whoa. That means we better pay attention to the words, right? We better know the words. We better know the tricks and the craft. That's the Freemasons, they're very crafty with the Vatican, the priesthood, the men wearing dresses, the Luciferians. So yeah, words rule. And the question is, do you rule the word, or does the word rule you? Well, you won't miss it. I'll tell you real quick. Hang on, Journey. Let me see here. I'm going to view all 67 of them here on my computer. Come on. Okay, we're talking next page. Almost there. All right, we're talking the premier Forbidden History edition was June 21st. Okay, June 21st, and it's and then after that you just follow it up. Okay, number one, number two is gone for some reason. I don't know why. Number three, and it just goes up from there. Okay, so there you go, Journey. Just go there and get an earful. Okay, and then I'm always available, to talk on the side with anybody. I love to get the questions on the program, though. I love, because everybody wants to know, right? The inquiring minds want to know. So there you go. All right. So I'm here to tell you that words, ladies and gentlemen, are not what you think. Not what you think. If the words that you use are not correct, then what you say is not what you mean. And if what you say is not what you mean, then all science, religion, history, and law will all fall apart and go astray. And all of the people will be standing around helpless and idle. And this is not only important, but it actually matters above everything else. That's Confucius. Okay? And they gave him a funny name, right? Here's the wise man. And when they translate it to English, they call him Confusion. Confusion, get it? You see the trickery again? Confucius is not confusion. Confucius is not Confucius. Again, what even I just read in the quote, if the words are not correct, his name is not Confucius. That's their cover. That's the game they play. The Aramaic Indo-Germanic mother tongue. That's what I'm talking about. The original, preceding the Hebrew and Greek by 5,000 years, back to Hadam. The very first shavors, the words that were breathed into Hadam and Kaiva, the original thought. That's the original thought. So just a couple words that kind of go back to what we talked about. Cannon. We talk about the big gun, right? The cannon. That's Canaan. And then we talked about the priesthood and the dogs, right? And then I realized, well, wait a minute. Dogs are also called canine. Canine, that's the Canaanites, right? The canine is a dog. That's the priesthood. That's why when they go to war, they wear the dog tags. But the priests are the dogs. They do the bidding of their God, the Pope, and the Black Pope. And so canine is also Canaan and Canaan, So it's all play on words, Just like cannabis. Cannabis is cannabliss. Cannabliss, okay? Cannabis is cannabliss. Canvas is cannabis. The canvas on the ships was made of cannabis, and they call it canvas to change the word so we never get the picture. Okay, so I see you got a question there. Love matters. In the beginning, could the word be song or frequency? Well, it's related to that. On the surface, I can see it's related to that, but the word is shavor. And so we see the royal, the literal sense of shavor is royal. Shah is royal, just like the Shah of Iran, right? Same word. That's what tipped me off. That was my first tip off when I looked at the Shah of Iran. But vor is the vortex, the center, the royal center. So yeah, the royal center vortex is the frequency. It is the invisible sound that came forth and then created through the vibrations, the atomic particles that then combined through the continual frequency into compounds and then came together and ultimately created the stars, that then created the next phase of the planets and the moons. The stars had to come first. Okay. So the word, and speaking of that, then the word hosts is 3 words. Okay. So get your pencil or your pen, write down the word host, HOSTS. Okay. And so we hear the term Lord of Hosts, right? Lord of Hosts. Well, Lord is Yahweh, and so literally, Lord of Hosts would mean, um, uh, well, I want to, yeah, okay, I'll give you the spelling after, okay? So Yahweh of the only true stars. You are supposed to be a true star. So let's analyze the word host. The H, this is called lexicography. Okay, we got to read the symbol. It's the hieroglyph, the hieratic diction. And so it's lex is the law of reading the symbol, lexicography. So the H in host is the word the prime root of the. The O means only and true. And then and it means more than that. Okay, it means perfection. It means oxygen. All those other things are there of the air, but I'm keeping it simple. So H is the, and O is the only true. It means truth. The O means truth, only true, prime meaning. And then the ST is an abbreviation for star. Okay, so literally, Lord of Hosts is the Yahweh of the only true stars, and that's what you're supposed to be, ladies and gentlemen, true stars. To repent is to breathe the breath of a star, and to be saved is soul novation, to be saved as a star of the cosmos, of the astral plane, looking for the sunrise that comes over when Yeshua says, Lazarus, come forth, rise from the dead. Okay, laser, Lazarus is Lazar. It was ray of light, come forth. That's what he was saying. Ray of light, come forth. Okay, the ray of light has to come forth from you. You have to become a ray of light. Okay, and share this with your loved ones, right? Okay, so two more, and I think it'll be a wrap after this. I don't think I'm going to be able to do any more, but I'll just cap it off on these other two words. I was going to get into Philo. Maybe I'll just talk about it real quick, okay, and then I'll let you all go. Great having such wonderful friends every morning. I'm trying to get to where I can do my evening program again, but I get talked out in the morning, and I need recovery time at night. But let me take a sip, and I'll be with you. Okay. So, the Most High, ladies and gentlemen. That's a code. This is another code. What I'm showing you is how they played the game. They used code words because they didn't want to spell it out. They didn't want to spell it out what it was really saying in our scriptures. And so they condensed, they abbreviated. That's what they call the college outside the Vatican, the College of Abbreviators, where the Jesuit Curii put the cure in your eye and switched out our words, abbreviated our words, sliced them and diced them. So Most High is another, just like hosts. Now write down Most High. Okay, so and by the way, Farrar Fenton put these words, these code words, in capital letters so that they would stand out. He knew they were code, but he didn't want to go too far. So what he does is he puts these particular words I'm sharing with you in capital letters so anybody that can think and process would recognize something is going on. Okay, and so that's how he played the game. He didn't go all the way. He could have. I'm going all the way. Right? If I can do the transliteration, I'm doing it all the way. I don't know if we'll have time to publish it. I haven't been able to even do my writing, my Word for 7 months now. I got all my data on my other computer. So, okay, Most High, 2 words right now, but you're going to see a bunch of words. Most is 2 words. M-O-S-T is 2 words. M-O is the prime root for mother. And ST, as you saw in host, is the star. So most means mother star. Okay? Mother star, well, what is our mother star? Is it not the sun? That's our mother star, right? And then high, the H is the word the letter I is the corruption for EYE. It's really the blind, because they wanted to put the cure in your eye and the mortar. Hope you wouldn't see, but that's okay. We can use it right here. The letter I is for your eye that you look with, but it's going to represent the sun, the mother star. And then GH is the code for return. And I did a presentation on the GH. All right. I showed you on the Declaration of Independence. I showed you on your computer. I showed you in the scriptures. So you got to go back and listen. But high, the GH means return. So literally, the Most High is the mother star in the eye of the return. So who is our mother star? It is even Yeshua himself, because he is the first atom, atom, the mother star. He's the mother of all the other atoms. And that's why when he comes down here and shows us mother's love by healing us and doing, wonderful things in the story for us, he's acting like a nurturing mother with the revealing the true love of the Father, which is also the same gentle love of the mother. When we were little, remember when we got in trouble, we didn't want to go to the Father. We wanted to go to Mommy, because I know Mommy's not going to be as upset with me, but the dad, he's tough. Dad is tough. So this is part of that duality again, right? Because at the same time, it was Yeshua who's revealing the Father, because in the old tradition, they were following the mother. Okay, so the mother star in the eye of the return, and that's what Mary represents. Hey, we're wrapping it up, Love Matters, anyway. Okay, and we're at 1 hour 51 minutes if you need to finish it later on. Okay, 1 hour 51 minutes. So be safe out there. Love having you, and thank you so much. Be well. Love you too. All right. So the mother star in the eye. So Mary represents the mother star, the virgin light, who brings forth the baby. You see? Okay. And so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You just got the words that killed. They killed us with, and the revealed truth. Okay. The code. I don't think this is happening anywhere on the planet like this. It's been a long journey to get here, but I'm just so grateful to share it with so many wonderful people, and hope that you do get the pictures. You never call in, but I'd love to have you call in sometime. And if you got a comment or a question, remember, I'm here to serve all of you. I want you to be able to figure it out, see and read it for yourself. Okay. So real quick, I'm going to try to just do a book review on the book of Philo, and I'm going to possibly start reading it tomorrow. I'm going to just do reading. I did the expose today on the occult, on how they play tricks, but I'm going to get into tomorrow we'll do the reading on the history of the church, the original gospel, and I'm going to include the works of Philo. The works of Philo, ladies and gentlemen, you can get it from Christian Book Distributors. That's cbd.com. That's Charlie Bravo David, cbd.com, for Christian Book Distributors. And Philo is always sold with the book of Josephus as a collection. But Philo was a friend of Yeshua. He lived in Alexandria, the great center of learning. And he wrote the giant classic work, the works of Philo, 8.5 by 11, 1,000 pages. Okay? You got a whole lot more reading to do. And I know that most of you aren't going to get the book of Philo. You don't have time to read it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the highlights. I've read 3/4 of the book, and I've underlined and highlighted. And so I'll just take you on a little segment of Philo in the mornings that way. And that way you'll see, because after my divorce, I carried this book for 25 years, and I didn't read it, because I was just doing broadcasting, and I was, I liked watching documentaries. It's a lot easier than reading. So, but then after I lost my apartment, I picked up all my books, started reading again for the next year. And I was astonished at what I've been carrying around, because I bought the book just as my divorce happened. And then 25 years later, I start reading it finally, and I was blown away. He was a friend of Yeshua. He saved his life once in the temple when the Pharisees wanted to kill him. But literally, Philo confirmed everything for me that Yeshua had been showing me. Ninja Cat says, I want so much to call, but I'm not good with words. Okay, that's all right. So I was blown away, because I got so many highlights and underlines in here. And Philo, I never read commentaries, okay? I never read commentaries, nor did I read modern books. I didn't care about the opinions of other people. I didn't know if they were enlightened or if they weren't. And so this is the only commentary I would ever read. Lydia, you're saying, have you heard of the word Bamat? I would love to know the meaning. Could you find it on Google? Yeah, I can try. Hang on. Let me copy the word. Okay, let me get on Google. Do you already know the meaning? It's wanting me to spell it differently. It says, do you mean Bamat, M-U-T, Bamat on Amazon? Bamat Wikipedia? Okay, let me go there. Bamat, Wuna Eb, Merkia, Wono, 303, Endgame, 611, 303, 611, Endgame. Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Well, I don't know what to comment on with that, Lydia. I have to, if you can give me a little more, okay? And you can call me on Skype if you want to talk about it more, privately. Free America Radio is my Skype. You're welcome to call me. Yeah, no, I saw it, but Batmot, it was saying was another form of the word Bahama, and because you see the T is silent. This is typical to a lot of our words. The T, they make us pronounce them, but they're also symbols that are just like the letter A, that you can turn it off, you can turn it on. So you can see Bahmat is also Bahama, you see. There's several ways of pronouncing it. So I'm not, well, then you're thinking of Batmofet, right? Batmofet is the Masonic goat, okay? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start going into the book of Philo and showing you how Philo confirmed for me so much of what Yeshua was showing to me. What Yeshua was teaching me in my journey was to trust the things that he was showing me. It was like, one discovery after another. And he would allow me to come to a conclusion about something before I even saw it in a book. It's like, and I would tell my wife, hey, okay, thank you. I'll try to, let me write it down and I will look it up in one of my dictionaries, see if I can find it. What do you know about it? I'm a little confused. Where did you find it? Okay, yeah, I wrote it down, so I'll see if I can pursue it. All right. So what the Father was showing me was to trust what I was seeing, and then he would take me to a book or a documentary, and there it was. Whoa, after spelling of Philo, okay, Philo. Okay, so there you go, and I'll try to start touching on it tomorrow for the first time, because he gives you all. He's the expert. Okay, he's got the big one that will help you to better comprehend. If you read Philo, you would better comprehend your scriptures. Okay, because he tells you what the deeper meanings are. But they played the game with his book just like they did with Josephus, the Balai Suits, meaning the masters of soothsaying. There's literally the people who the Jews who did worked in the library and retranslated all the books. They were called Balai Suits, meaning Baal means master, right? Baal, give me a break. That's what the Jews call themselves. Baal, the masters, they call themselves Baal, Shem, Baal this, Baal that. Balai soothsayers, give me a break. And they've corrupted all of these books, all of them. So I have to literally read the code in Philo also to properly transliterate it. And what's the big word they always take out of our scriptures? The sun. The sun that represents the light, the logo, the great symbol, the Shavor, what is known as the Word from the beginning, the flaming sword that came out of Yeshua's mouth, the flaming two-edged sword that points in every direction, the way back to the light. Okay, so that's coming up hopefully tomorrow, and you're going to get into Philo, because I know most people just don't have the time or the the ability to decode it. So I'll give you the decoding version, and because that's what Yeshua does with me, he allows me to decode. So so I'm all talked out now, friends, and I'm just so grateful to have so many wonderful friends around the world. It's a very unique experience and happening for me to have finally got my YouTube channel. It practically took me a year and a half to ramp it up with no money and no technical help. I am not a geek, and so I struggled, I crawled, and finally we're here, and the time is short. So, okay, Lydia, the Spirit spoke on my video. Sounded like Bahmat, okay, but could be Mofet, right, or however they say that. Okay, sorry. I won't interrupt again. No interruption. It's okay. So good to have you. All right. So friends, I don't think I'll be doing it tonight. I look for the notices. It's possible, but certainly plan on being here tomorrow morning. Typically 8:30 Eastern time. That's my average. So that's typically what I'm working towards. And thank you so much for your comments and questions, and for telling your friends about the broadcast as well. And we have, some documents we can get to you. If you don't have the funny money, I'll get it to you anyway. And thank you, Jedi, for your thoughts. And so I just want you to remember, don't forget, if you want to know the future, just look for the Forbidden History series. I'm Desert Owl, thanking you for tuning in. I'll look for you tomorrow morning, okay? Be safe. And I used to say breathe deep, but I don't think I can say breathe deep anymore. You better get a filter for your face, and then you can breathe deep, okay? Thank you, Lynn, everybody. Journey, good to meet you. Feel free to call on the side. I think you got my contact information. You're always welcome to call if you're ever in the area, okay? And I'll be playing it again, Sam, tomorrow morning. Peace and love for all of you. Good night. Good day. And don't forget, Dane Wigington. Dane Wigington is every Saturday. Do the Google search, Dane Wigington, Wigington. And thank you, Lydia, as well. Yes, I'm still learning too. Okay, we're all learning in this process. But Dane Wigington, he's got the ultimate presentation next to Matt Rogers. Okay, Dane Wigington. That's his name of his YouTube channel, and I'll be there. So I hope to see you there as well. Peace and love. Bye bye.